5A football. Snider is back in the state championship game for the first time since 2004. Seventh time the Panthers will be playing for a state title. Oddly enough, the only time they won was back in 1992. It seems like an odd fact when you look it up because you think of them as just a powerhouse, especially when it comes to statewide football. They've got their hands full on Saturday night, 7:05, down in the 5A state championship game.
Yeah, 14-0 Lawrence Central, and Lawrence Central plays in just a brutal conference as well. And so a lot of people talk very, very highly about Lawrence Central. The people I've talked to say that they're, you know, it's funny. They follow the same formula that Snider does. They try to get a lead, they run the ball, they work the clock, and they did that against Center Grove. And they also have athletes that can make explosive plays. But Center Grove's coach was telling the Indianapolis Star that even their wide receivers block well in the running game. And so, you know, a lot of people say Snider has very little chance of getting this done. I am not going to doubt the Snider kids. I think it certainly helps if Brandon Phelps and Weston Painter are healthy enough to contribute a lot. Both have been battling injuries of late. I know Weston Painter tweeted this morning about having to go to a physical therapy session. Tried to go the other night. I heard that it was spotty as to what his contribution was. He tried valiantly to contribute. They really need him to be able to play a bigger role. Yeah. But, you know, Snider does what Snider does. They run the ball well. They dominate the line of scrimmage. And, you know, they are not afraid to face competition. Beating Penn, beating Merrillville, beating Fishers, beating Northside twice, beating Lures. This is a team that has faced all comers, and they always seem to find a way to win. Snider kind of has that team of destiny sense to them, that they always figure out a way to get it done. So even though they're going to be regarded as the underdog in many people's eyes, you know, don't question whether Snider can figure out a way to get it done. And
that's kind of one of the funny things about it, is because people say, well, they let Merrillville back in the game. Right. Well, you know what? They found a way to win. Right. And that's the ultimate.
That's how you look at it.
That's what it means down at the end. That's the biggest thing down at the end. 42-39 they won. And they found a way to win the week before by showing a lot of guts in overtime with a 2-point call. But when it comes to Lawrence Central, how do they go about stopping it if they're not at 100% strength? Because Weston Painter, we know about the knee. He's going to have surgery later this month. Obviously, in a big game like this, when you're going up against big Indianapolis-sized linemen, it's going to be tough when you don't have your best player at 100%.
Well, it is, but that's one good thing about the Snider program. They have a lot of depth, and it's always next man in. I mean, they graduated kids off last year's roster, and people questioned how good they'd be, and next man in. And so that's one good thing about having so many seniors, and those underclassmen that have to go against those seniors every day in practice. They develop skills, even though they're not getting a lot of playing time in games. In practices, they develop skills. So when Weston Painter goes out, a new guy slides in and he's able to contribute. You know, like I said, Snider has seen everybody, and so Lawrence North is not going to wow them. They are Snider is a disciplined defensive team, and they tackle really, really well. And you know, if you watch the Stanford-Oregon game this weekend, the big thing that the analyst kept saying was how good Stanford tackles the speed of Oregon. Same thing will apply to Lawrence Central and Snider. Snider has faced the lure speed. They faced the fastest team I've seen in Merrillville, and they adjusted with that. They will be disciplined, they will tackle well, and so Snider can hang with these guys. And as it gets deeper into the game, Lawrence Central, they've read all the press clippings. They know they're the favorites. They're going to start to get a little bit rattled. Snider kids won't be rattled. They've been in these big games before.
A lot of people talk about Snider's defense versus the Lawrence Central offense, but really on the flip side, you take a look at Lawrence Central's numbers defensively, they're giving up 10.3 points a game. What does Snider have to do? You mentioned Brandon Phelps being 100% healthy, but what do they have to do to put up some points against a defense that, yes, is overshadowed by the offense, but on Lawrence Central sidelines, it's a really, really good defense.
It is a really, really good defense, but Snider's offense is very versatile. They can score in special teams. They can score off their defense some. They can run the ball, and Brandon Phelps has shown later on in the season that he's gotten better in passing as well. So they can beat you a number of ways. Yes, they can pound the ball with Janori Smith and Tyrell Swain. They can do that if they have to, but special teams, Josh Spitnail can kick field goals. He can score. and Brandon Phelps improved play as of late. He can throw the ball. To Spit Nail, Dellinger, some of those guys. And so they can score a number of ways too. And kickoff returns. They've got good return games as well.
And I think we saw Quentin Daniels emerging a little bit every week in the playoffs to the point where he is a go-to receiver. I think he's been the go-to receiver all season long, but has stepped up really in these big-time situations.
Yeah, where do you focus if you're Lawrence Central? Because Snider can score in a variety of ways against you.
All right. Looking forward to it. It should be a great weekend for football, especially here in Northeast Indiana, as the fans travel down to Lucas Oil Stadium on Friday night and Saturday night. Tom Davis and the rest of the folks will have complete coverage in the News Sentinel. We'll have you covered on the Highlight Zone Friday and on Saturday. But for now, I'm Glenn, he's Tom, and we'll see you next week.